managing stress for a spine surgeon is not a matter just for himself, his family, but also a concern for patient safety and professional sustainability. There are various reasons for this. Basically, stress is a disparity between your expectations and the reality. But the operative stress is part and parcel of our specialty. It's basically a psychological and physiological response to unwanted and high demand situations, and it can become chronic if it continues. In acute situations, unforeseen circumstances, it can happen like vertebral blowout or dural tear, etc. So physiologically, you know that it's about tension, irritability, sleep disturbances, etc. But if it continues, then it can lead to a burnout. Now that is a syndrome defined by three core things: emotional exhaustion, a sort of depersonalization, leading to feeling of dejection, and that hampers your efficacy completely. Burnout in medicine was recognized first in 1970s. Over a period of time, it is just increasing. These were last year's statistics in surgeons, orthopedic surgeons and spine surgeons. You can see in India, half the people are eventually affected. We know the realities of jobs, and this is what we have willingly accepted. We know all these factors, but look at the last one. Unfortunately, we live in a society where workaholics are admired. Your bosses all have been the similar type of people pushing for high volume practices, doing high-end cases, and we willingly accept a stressful lifestyle. So stress in the operating room is because of the high demand, long timing, procedures, multiple at times, and each one wants to proceed to more and more complex surgeries. Multidisciplinary team coordination between anesthesiologists, between neuromonitoring team, between your imaging technicians, your OR staff, all this can add to the stress. Now, stress can be good if it is optimum. Very less stress makes the spine surgeons feeling very lazy. So the optimum stress is what gets you going. It is perceived as a challenge, and that's what actually increases your efficiency. But more than optimum can become a distress. And if that continues for a long time, along with the lifestyle causes, like lack of sleep, no personal time, lack of emotional support, and overwork, that eventually causes more problems. Intraoperative complications like dural tear, vertebral blowout, excess bleeding, or let's say you're doing a deformity and the neuromonitoring guy says something, you have to manage this. But if you are basically a perfectionist, that just leads to internalization of this stress. Technological challenges, newer disruptive techniques, equipment failures just add to it. Very high volume practice, very busy practice is also one of the reasons to high operative stress. Now the patient dynamics, especially in type 1, 2 cities, also is adding to all this. So what are the preventive strategies? First and foremost, like the morning talk by Dr. Gautam, try to have the proper ergonomic management of your OR. Delegate your team the proper jobs. Make sure that you're not physically stressed. Using of high technology things like microscope, endoscope should not stress you out physically. Mentally, it is always better that you have proper preoperative planning, discussion with your OR team. Take time off, focus on the task at hand. Keep some space in between 2 or 3 different cases. Do not try to post too many high demand cases one after the other. And after the surgery, always have a little time to reflect. This will all lead to extremely important things. Now, wellness-oriented scheduling. It is the time scheduling throughout your day, your work and other activities, prioritization for time for yourself. Also the scheduling which should be surgeon-centric, especially in institution, not just patient-centric. Not try to push more and more volume just because your competitors or your seniors are doing is extremely important. Peer support really helps. I have personally experienced this when I had a bad result or compromised result, discussing with colleagues who had a similar problem, asking the seniors, share it. It could be a friend or a non-medico also. So what leads to healthy, active lifestyle? It is the 3 things: the social, mental, and physical components of health. Now, physical health is extremely important, but it starts from mental fitness. We all know about the importance of positive thinking, but use of meditation, music, even social support, and then the relaxation techniques, this is all very important. Being close to nature also is a sort of de-stressing which will help. Now, physical health is not just important, but it should be incorporated with a hobby, otherwise it's mundane. Why a hobby? It is pure happiness, it's the best de-stressing, and it brings out the best inside you and connects you to your inner self. So it is always said that have 3 hobbies. One, your passion, maybe spine surgery, which gives you money. Second one is it helps you keep you in shape, gives you imparts health, and one which helps to be creative. Now, physical fitness is not just because you love to be fit or it is a physical empowerment, but a healthy body is extremely important. It is the basis for a dynamic and creative intellectual activity. I found my ways. I have done a lot of activities and still doing it, which keeps me fit, keeps me active, also imparts creativity. Wildlife photographies, which I have taken and I'll still pursue very, very vigorously. But in the process, it has helped me to find myself, also to remind oneself that work is not the only thing that you get going. Because if you don't, all this chronic stress, plus the pressure of work output and finding professional excellence is going to lead to a burnout. And when that happens, recovery is not that easy. You need to find out your roots again. You have to go back, try to reverse the event, find out the stresses, have resilience, because you cannot give up your work, but approach it in a very different way. Regulate your whole schedule in such a way that you recognize what is leading to the burnout, try to introduce some factors, some team members, or try to change the norms of practice, even the volumes. It is not a bad idea to do 5 days a week or 6 days a week practice, have a half day off, because Westerners are smarter than us. They know that taking frequent breaks actually increases your efficiency, and that leads to better work output. It is not about volume or amount of work, but it is about the quality of work. The tips for getting better after a burnout or even we are close to it, first and foremost, reframe your goals, your motivations. Second, do not hesitate from asking for help. It could be a family member, a friend, may not be a professional, it could be a colleague who identifies, who cares for your well-being, not just because you're a high-volume, high-flying surgeon who earns a lot, but because as an individual, you're extremely important to them. Reevaluate whatever your strategies are. Prioritize keeping yourself as a center. This is absolutely important. And there are certain tips for addressing burnout. You know, the work-life balance is a very abstract term. What is my balance may not be somebody else's. What is somebody else's stress may be a motivation for me to work more, I thrive on it. So you have to find your own stable zone, which encourages you to prolong your career, go better and better in your professional excellence, and also try to recognize what are the inner motivations that you have. Do not hesitate from seeking support. Look for family members and social circle. We all know, especially in the later years, that it is not just work, but the social circle, your friend circle, your outside activities, which gives you really imparting good happiness. Now choose the incentives very wisely. There is corporatization happening around you. The institutes and the hospitals will always flag your numbers and your revenues. Indirectly, unfortunately, spine surgery is becoming like we always used to recognize. Arthroplasty surgeons count just the numbers. A lot of specialties just count the numbers. Spine surgery should be recognized as a very, very high demand quality surgery. How can you say that somebody did 4 surgeries when it was scoliosis, kyphosis, when somebody else is doing 4 total knee replacements? I'm not denouncing the quality of somebody else's surgery, but we are losing the focus. All that I hear about nowadays is somebody doing 3 or 4 surgeries, or somebody doing 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000. So there is a drawback inside all this. Now, a lot of people, after a certain age, after achieving everything in early stage, lose the motivation. So do not hesitate to ask for professional help or speak with people outside the ambit of your profession. How to remotivate after a certain age. There are various theories. I'm just giving you one example, the Maslow's pyramid. We all started working if you are not having enough resources for the base. You know, the basic needs of food, water, everything. Then it becomes luxury. Then it becomes portfolio. Then it becomes about your social relationships and others. Then it becomes more about self-esteem, confidence, the name, fame, peer support. Why we are all over here and why you like to hear the claps for your own voice is because of all that. But you need to rise above that. And once you have achieved everything which you want to, once you are already an established surgeon, why do you still then get up and work for 12 hours, 14 hours? That is where the self-actualization is. So you need to find your own motivations, and remember all these things. There are various ways, but to summarize, find good stress, differentiate from bad stress. What gives you, gets you going, gives you motivation is good. What actually discourages you, reduces your efficiency, just avoid. And last but not the least, do not hesitate from saying no. Unfortunately, we are proud that we are working even on a Sunday. We even, attend our patient at 9 o'clock. We never refuse a patient. Saying no is your birthright if it helps you to be yourself. And last but not the least, take time out for yourself every day. Tell yourself that you are the priority. If you are healthy, if you are stress-free, it's good for people around you, including family, friends, and most of all, your patients. Thank you.